But the funny thing is, it's the Democrats. It's always been the Democrats.
Always.
What's up with that? You know?
Well, this whole, theory that, the parties switched. No, they didn't. They did not.
Wait. I got to go one for you.
Go ahead.
Do you see that Trump announced he might deliver his acceptance speech at Gettysburg?
Wow, really?
Yeah. So Trump said maybe 2 locations: the White House and/or Gettysburg.
Oh.
And it's really funny. This journalist, this progressive journalist, tweeted, "Why would you hold an acceptance speech at the place where your side lost?" And I responded, "The Republicans won at Gettysburg."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Yeah. What?
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Yup. The Democrats were the Confederacy.
Yeah.
So Trump's a Republican.
Yeah. What
does that mean? And so now there is hilarious. There's journalists coming out slamming Trump, saying things like, he's always been a fan of a defender of Confederate names and traditions or some other nonsense. What? And people are like, you think that him giving a speech at a site of a great defeat of the Confederacy is him honoring the Confederacy?
Yeah. Have they ever heard the Gettysburg Address? Do they know what it's about?
I know.
What?
Dude. I think it's crazy.
It's embarrassing.
You know what, man?
It's getting really embarrassing to watch news.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I don't watch news. I get clips of it from people going, "Wow, here they go again," and I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Do you see the thing about Brian Stelter of CNN?
What about it?
When he was like, "Can you believe that there's a whole media network dedicated to just ragging on Biden?"
Yeah.
And then he actually asked, okay, I could be getting this wrong, but my understanding is that he asked one of the guests, "Could you imagine a network like that, just dedicated to talking about Trump?" And she says, "No, there isn't one," or something like that.
And I was cracking up. I still am cracking up whenever I hear it said out loud. Yeah. It is funny.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah. And my favorite part about it was that he highlighted a statement from Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
And it was Ben Shapiro saying something like, Biden is falling apart. He's literally falling apart. And that was it. And he was like, this hate and this vitriol. And I was like, he barely said anything, dude.
What do you I was thinking about this the other day. What if, I know this is kind of far-fetched and it doesn't have anything to do with this, but what if it was all a ploy? What if Biden is still sharp? And
that's what I was saying before, remember?
And he's just like leaning into this old man thing.
Bro.
Yeah, you said it.
Willy
Wonka.
When
he comes onto the debate. Yes, Willy Wonka. When he comes out and does the flip.
Yeah.
Like, aha, I'm ready.
Biden's going to, he's going to come out in a wheelchair with a blanket on his lap. And then he's gonna get up and he's gonna be shaking, and they're gonna be like, "Oh man!" And then he's gonna fall over. Everyone's gonna gasp. He's gonna do a perfect somersault, pop up and go, "Ah!" And then he's gonna walk up strong as an ox, and he's gonna be like, "Listen here, fat. I'm gonna talk to you about a million different progressive policies I'm gonna be enacting. Donald Trump's got nothing on this." And people are gonna be like, "Whoa, I wish."
And then he's gonna turn around into his jacket.
No, people are gonna notice he got a long pinky fingernail.
Long pinky nail.
And there's gonna be pictures of his pinky nail. And they should periodically be like, "I've got to fix my teeth." Oh, yeah.
Or just a little precarious pinky ring.
I think
opens.
So I made this as kind of like a half joke, because he talked about choosing Susan Rice as his VP.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, why? Is it because she's about to be indicted by Durham?
Probably.
And then if they try to indict her, they're going to be like, he's interfering in the election by coming after his vice president. Mm-hmm. I think it's hilarious that Joe Biden is accused of serious wrongdoing with the Ukraine scandal.
Yeah.
And his son and Burisma and all this stuff. And they're like, but he's the potential candidate. I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
So
we have him with the allegations of Ukraine Gate, but we've got him spying on the Trump campaign using government resources.
We definitely need to see the full report. But
okay.
What we can say right now is, according to these notes, it would appear Joe Biden was in this meeting and floated using the Logan Act, which has never been used before against an American, to jam up and sabotage the incoming administration.
Yep.
And he went on TV and claimed he didn't know anything about the prosecution of Flynn. His name is on the list of one of the people who requested the unmasking of Flynn.
Right.
What that means is Flynn, they were spying on phone calls, and they have to redact the name of American citizens because of the Fourth Amendment. So Joe Biden said, "I want to know whose name that is." That's unmasking.
Yep.
That means that the U.S. government was spying on the Russians, but because Flynn was on the phone with them, Joe Biden was like, "I want to know who that American was." And then they decided to use the Logan Act against. It's ridiculous. The Logan Act is nonsense. It's never been used. It was an archaic law from like the early foundation of the country. that basically says you can't claim to represent the U.S. government. But the reason it's insane is because he was the advisor to the president, the president-elect.
Yeah.
And they tried to claiming that he couldn't. What? That's ridiculous.
Like, wasn't that his
so
actual job?
Right now, it seems like, yeah, they definitely. I mean, look, man, the texts between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, our insurance policy, we won't let it happen.
Yep.
Come on,
We're
man.
not going to let it happen.
Yep.
He's not going to win. We won't let it happen.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
And then the Russiagate scandal and the investigations and the waste of time.
Yeah, it seriously bogged his presidency down for the past 3 years. Basically, for his entire presidency, he's been dealing with these lies of Russiagate, which is founded in nothing.
So what do you think happens if he gets reelected?
He's dropping the hammer.
Political nuke.
Oh, yeah.
The equivalent of a nuclear bomb in the political world.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's why they're willing to go to any lengths. Any. I think it's funny, man. Trump said he was going to lock Hillary up, you know?
Yes, he did. He did say that.
And everybody wondered, why isn't he going for locking up Hillary right now?
Because he's playing 4D chess, baby.
Maybe.
That's it. Oh, yeah, dude. He is. He's a calculating dude. He's smart.
Maybe it was he wanted to get as much as he could done in his first 4 years before going nuclear.
Yep, probably.
We don't know what's going to be in that Durham report. We don't really know.
I can't wait to see what that... I can't wait to read that.
Hey, man, you might be disappointed.
Maybe. That's true.
I'll warn everybody of this. I sat through this. All of these lefties going like, oh, man, when the Mueller report comes out, it's going to be the bomb. It's going to drop. It's going to do everything. Trump's done. The walls are closing in. Bombshell, bombshell, bombshell. The Mueller report drops and nothing.
Well,
Rachel Maddow was nearly crying on TV.
He said it was breathtaking.
Yeah.
Trump said it was breathtaking what he's seen.
Did you see the video of Rachel Maddow almost crying?
No.
She denies it, but there's this really funny video of a woman watching TV, and it looks like Rachel Maddow's about to cry.
What was she watching?
She was watching Rachel Maddow. So it's like Rachel Maddow's on TV, and this woman films herself watching it, and she's like, she's crying, and starts laughing.
I thought you were saying that Rachel Maddow was sitting in a room watching herself and crying while watching herself cry. I was like, this is a weird image. How did this happen? What is going on?
I assume most people know who she is, but she's the host of an MSNBC show, and she's been one of the biggest cheerleaders of Trump Russia. Like, there's a famous segment Rachel Maddow did where she's like, Russia could turn off the power in Fargo in the winter. Okay, you're warning people that they might get their electricity shut off by Russia. That's how crazy she was. And then MSNBC had in a guy who claimed that Trump may have been a Russian asset since the 80s. These people lost the plot a long time ago.
Yeah, they did.
And then the report came out, and man, did the color drain from their faces.
When there was nothing.
Uh-oh. Everything they put out was lies.
Yep.
Then recently we got the transcripts from all of these people, like I think Brennan and whatever, these people who appeared on TV. And then privately they testified, we have no evidence. We don't know if it's true.
But on TV they were saying, we have all this evidence.
We've seen it. It's true.
So much evidence. Yep. Blah, 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 blah. That's all it is.
It was all fake news.
Yes,
so I say this because right now you got everybody going, oh, man, the Durham report. Oh, it's coming. They're investigating them. Then it's going to come out and it's going to be like, I think to be fair, there's a reason to believe it's going to be bigger than the Mueller report for sure because
yeah,
it turned into a criminal investigation.
I know. Which
means it sounds like indictments.
2 different attorney generals are looking into it. You know, we got the one in Texas. I forget the name doesn't ring a bell, but I mean, AG Barr sent 2 different people to investigate from 2 different angles.
Yep.
So that, I mean, there's enough that they needed 2 different people on it to go. You know, it's gonna be spicy.
The other day I tweeted Bill Barr is rad.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because
I retweeted
it. I heard a statement about him talking about Antifa, and I was just like, rad. And I was like, Bill Barr's rad.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can go back in time. There's a lot of things I disagree with him on, but you know, the context of it was he's targeting these extremists, these vandals, these destroyers, and I thought it was rad that he was doing it.
Yeah.
And then today I saw this far left reporter, mainstream, hundreds of thousands of followers, impeach Bill Barr.
Oh my gosh!
And
I saw that. I was like,
and then the comments were like, they had him testify because they're investigating him, and I'm like, oh, shut up, you people are nuts.
Yeah.
What's funny is they say this. It's a mirror world.
He's a straight shooter.
What we say, it's a mirror world to what they say.
It's true.
We say the Democrats and Biden are evil. They say Trump and the Republicans are evil. We say we got to investigate them for the crimes. They say Trump's got to be investigated for the crimes. That's why I'm telling people, don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
You know, life can be disappointing sometimes, but we'll see. True. I think we might have an October surprise. Okay. I don't know if it'll matter.
I think so too.
But will it matter?
I think so. I don't think anything the Democrats do is going to change the Americans out there that are sick of all of it. They're sick of the media. They believe Trump is their champion, and I believe it too. And they're going to go vote. They're going to go out and vote. Nothing is going to stop them from going out and voting.
Yeah, but mail-in voting, cheating.
Okay.
All these weird games they're playing.
I mean, we're going into it knowing, it's like the president is calling them out. We're being investigated. Like we're going after this stuff. So it's not like we're going to be caught blindsided. We see it happening in front of us. We're talking about it. We're letting the world know, and hopefully you guys are all sharing this.
We have a super chat from Kevin McCarthy. He says, Tim, the Flynn call was not unmasked. Comey already had it. That is what makes it so bad. There was another surveillance, either illegal or authorized directly by POTUS and AG.
Whoa.
Well, so there was unmasking, but it may be, if Kevin here is correct, that there was other surveillance. I have heard that. I don't know. I can't say I can confirm it.
Yeah.
There was a report. There were documents released showing who had made unmasking requests. So for whatever reason, man, I don't know. Perhaps there's a lot more to this than we realize. I mean, look. The DNC was accused of colluding with certain Russians to jam up the Trump campaign. That's a fact.
Yep.
It was reported by Politico, the New York Times. A court in Ukraine ruled that Ukrainians were meddling in the U.S. election. Now they claim in the media it's fake news. It's a lie. It's like, what? The craziest thing is Politico ran the story that Democrats the DNC was colluding with Ukrainians.
Okay.
And then Politico ran the other story claiming it was fake news. And so I specifically tweeted out, I'm like, okay, Politico, retract your story then. And they wouldn't do it. And I'm like, pick one. They can't both be true.
Right.
And they would not do it.
Because they don't care. Because they were both getting clicks.
I don't know. I guess because both reporters were like, nope, it's true. And it's a dirty game these media people are playing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, man. Let me actually see if I can.
So I just wanted to say, I was talking to my grandmother today. Call your grandmother. By the way, if you haven't called her lately, you should do that. Call your grandmother. So I was talking to her. She's awesome. She's surprisingly. I guess it's not really surprising because like the older you get, the more you pay attention to all this stuff. She's like a firecracker with all the stuff. Like we were just shooting the political commentary back and forth. But I think she's got a little crush on AG Barr. She's like, yeah, he's a straight shooter, talking that and that. And if she is watching, sorry for blasting you out, but I think it's true.
He's a calm dude. Check this out. I love highlighting this. Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. Kiev officials are scrambling to make amends with the president-elect after quietly working to boost Clinton. January 11th, 2017. Kenneth P. Vogel.
I remember this.
Yeah, but apparently it's fake news now, I guess.
I mean, didn't Ukraine just unmask Biden? He was on a report in January, but it was redacted. And they unredacted it like last month, saying that's actually the mysterious American that they were dealing with is actually Joe Biden.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I mean,
I do know.
Who knows? We're seeing this like what is fake, what is real.
Dude,
that's constantly the battle we're dealing with.
Joe Biden's son was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company. His son doesn't speak Ukrainian.
Nope.
No expertise in the energy field, and he was getting paid, by some estimates, $83,000 per month.
Wow, that's a lot.
For what?
For what?
Access to the vice president.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then
were you about to do the China angle?
No.
Oh, well, I was about to. Go ahead. You go first.
I was going to say, Joe Biden has that famous viral video where he's like, so I told him, fire the prosecutor.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise you're not getting the money. And they said, you can't do that. I said, call the president, let him know. And then he's like, if he's not fired in 6 hours or whatever, you're not getting the money. He's like, well, I'm not going to say it because it's YouTube. We're family friendly. Son of a gun. He got fired.
Son of a gun. Yeah.
He got fired. And everyone said, oh, it's normal that we tie, diplomatic requests. And I was like, wait. It's normal that the U.S. bribes a foreign government to fire a prosecutor in exchange for billions of dollars?
Right.
That's kind of weird to me regardless.
Agreed.
But no, it's fine. It's fine. If the U.S. and its interests are willing to say, we'll give you billions if you fire your prosecutor, fine. The crazy thing about that whole story with Joe Biden is that he claims the prosecutor was corrupt and wasn't doing the investigations. So he had to go. The only problem is the new prosecutor who came in cleared this the Burisma guy of all wrongdoing. Mm-hmm. And then when Trump came in, the dude fled to Monaco.
Oh,
Interesting.
I
huh?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sounds like Joe Biden is dirty. Tell you what,
Yep.
here's what I want you to do, everybody. You want to figure this out. Not right now, but eventually when you get time. You go to Google, right? You type in Joe Biden, or you type in Biden corrupt, but you go to the tools section on Google. Then you go to, it says anytime, you click that. Click custom range and set it for 2015 and earlier. Boy, will you find lots of articles about Joe Biden being corrupt. From the Washington Post, from Politico, from all these outlets.
Really?
Yep. Talking about his family, the soft corruption, how he uses his political positions to grant them all favors and get them access.
Wow.
The mysterious ways that his kids make money and his brother makes money. And then as soon as we enter the political space, Joe Biden is not corrupt. Everyone. Joe Biden is great. There is no corruption.
And then didn't he get put in some board for like some $billion company in China or something? Hunter, I'm talking
Hunter
about?
Biden.
Yeah, Hunter.
He flew on Air Force Two for a private equity deal in China. So I don't know. The issue with China, you got to understand, is that they'll try and say, oh, but it was a private company. And it's like every company in China is the Communist Party of China.
That's a good point.
It is. Isn't that not?
And
no
if
joke?
it was a private company in a private deal, why was he flying on Air Force Two?
Why are they using taxpayer resources for this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Now, I'll be fair. I definitely fact check me on all this stuff. This is not something we had pulled a bunch of sources on or anything like that. But,
Yeah, we're
but
just
seriously,
kinda shooting the breeze here.
you start looking into this stuff and you start going, huh? Like Trump has weird stuff too. Trump, cheated on his wife. There was a weird report where the Air Force was using Trump golf resorts, like staying in Scotland.
Yeah.
But like, as much as you can say, why is this enriching Trump? Is Trump using this to pay himself? You could also argue, is Trump saving the U.S. government money by having them use his properties instead of using expensive third parties?
Yeah, it's not like he has to pay for it.
I do have a problem with it though. I think it's poor tact. Even if he is giving the U.S. government a discount, he spends. There's a lot of money spent on Trump's golfing trips.
We've talked about that. It's like, we mentioned it earlier. It's like he didn't come in and become the president and act presidential. He wasn't a politician for his whole life. He went from being a celebrity, really, with The Apprentice, 20 years basically, since 2004 they started The Apprentice. It went all the way till basically he was like, all right, I'm going to run for president. So he went from that celebrity status to becoming the president. Now you see him really maintaining his composure now.
He doesn't understand the political game.
He does now. He's had a crazy crash course over the past 4 years.
So this would make sense if you give Trump the benefit of the doubt. Then you can imagine a scenario where they're like, we're having a bunch of, Air Force men flying, to Europe. They're going to be stopping in Scotland. And then Trump is like, have them stay at my resort, put them up. It'll be great. They'll love it.
Yeah.
It's going to be luxury. These guys deserve it. Mm-hmm. And he thinks he's doing a discounted favor by saying like, yeah, use my company's properties, but it looks improper.
That's
because
true.
the money still goes there. And there was talk, I can't remember exactly what it was. He talked about, having his property do like a big, I think it was like the G20 or something, or the G7.
Okay.
And people were like, regardless of whether or not he provides a discount, that's going to cover costs for his business. So it's not about profit. That's why I say it's tactless. He shouldn't have done this.
Okay.
And maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't realize. He thought he was doing a good thing.
But what if the taxpayers were actually given the actual numbers, saying, all right, so say we didn't use Trump's businesses, say we chose, I don't know, whatever, the Hilton, the top Hilton hotel, and it cost $3 million to do it there.
Yep.
Just a broad number. But it only cost $1 million using Trump's resort.
The argument is that if his business is failing by covering costs through taxpayer dollars, he's saving himself. So even if he doesn't make a profit and provides a discount, it's a benefit to his company and his family.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, he shouldn't have done it. And apparently did it more than once. But what am I supposed to say? Barack Obama killed an American kid. He killed a 16-year-old American citizen. Am I supposed to complain about Trump putting up Air Force men at a luxury, Trump golf resort? It's not it's not a high priority for me.
No, it's
though
not.
I will criticize it, and I did when he did it, and I'll do it now. I look at Joe Biden using Air Force Two to fly to China for private equity deals, putting his kid on the board of Burisma, and I'm like, okay, hold on, man.
Yeah.
Trying to get these favors and stuff like this. I can criticize Trump within certain bounds and be like, he should not have done that, and I think it should be criticized. But you got to look back at the decades of Joe Biden and the DNC. And so that's why I always say I have never been a big fan of Trump. I think he's a funny guy. As a personality and entertainer, I think he's awesome. I think his show, his character, everything he's built, he's fantastic. As a president, I think he lacks professionalism. He's made a lot of mistakes, but he is infinitely better than Joe Biden, who is a disaster, a nightmare, and will lead this country to ruin. That's a little strong. So we should talk about the riots in that regard too.
I think a lot of the mistakes that he made were people trying to sabotage him in many different ways. You got Bolton, for example, just this
what a mistake.
warmonger, that, and then we even talked about how he came in, and because of Russiagate, he couldn't even fire everybody that he knew was dirty. So he actually had to work with a lot of these people. Like you've told me this yourself. So he had to work with these people because he couldn't get rid of them, because then they would have been like, oh, see, he's trying to get rid of the evidence because of Russiagate, which we now know isn't true. So it's like a lot of these problems that he's had to deal with, he's risen above.
He's cleaned up his act, man. He really has.
Well, and he's cleaning up the people around him, which you yourself told me he had no choice in the matter.
Take a look at this article. Pull it up. You want to read it?
Sure. Bleeding John Bolton stumbles into Capitol building claiming that Iran shot him.
It's from The Onion. It's fake. It's satire, but it's so good.
Oh, man.
Here's what they wrote. Bursting through the congressional chamber doors while moaning and clutching his shoulder, John Bolton reportedly stumbled into the Capitol building, claiming he'd been shot by Iran. Help, help. I've just been attacked by a large Middle Eastern country, around 636,000 square miles in size, said the National Security Advisor, telling those assembled that he'd just been minding his own business when an aggressive Islamic Republic had thrown him on the ground and shot him with a long-range missile. Right after Iran shot me, I heard the nation laugh and say, somebody stop me before I go on a homicidal rampage. It was acting crazed and irrational, and I could smell enriched uranium coming from one of its urban centers. Please hurry. If we move quickly, we might still be able to catch it before it's too late. Upon further questioning, Bolton admitted that the incident had happened so fast that it was possible he'd been attacked by Venezuela or North Korea. This is a joke, and it's remarkable to me that The Onion writes this because it is very esoteric in terms of if you understand foreign policy and you're into politics.
Yeah.
John Bolton's a warmonger.
Clearly is.
So The Onion, amazing. Yeah, Trump made a mistake bringing that guy on, and I think people warned him about it. He's made a lot of mistakes, but I think when I look at Trump, I'll put it this way. It started with, stop making me defend Trump, right?
Yep.
And it was like, dude, hold on. That's not true. You're making that up.
Oh, tell me the story you said earlier. You leading into that?
No.
Talking about
no,
that?
that's private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'll clarify just what I'm talking about.
Sum it up. You can.
Just people hitting me up, telling me that like they really do love Trump and they're scared to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But what's triggering their kind of like opening up to Trump is that the media claims everything he does is wrong.
Everything.
And at a certain point, someone's got to say something like, well, it's not possible. A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah.
So where are the two times you're going to... Nope, never. They look into it, and turns out they end up liking him.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people end up giving him the benefit of the doubt when they realize that how much the media lies. There's so many famous instances. I'll give you a light one first. When Donald Trump was with Shinzo Abe of Japan, and they're like throwing food into the koi fish pond.
Oh, yeah.
Then all of a sudden the camera zooms in on Trump and he dumps the whole thing in. And then everybody makes fun of him. They're like, oh no, he's so dumb. Turns out someone at ABC, I think it was ABC or some news outlet, edited the video in the full context. Shinzo Abe throws all the food in and then Trump shrugs and then does the same. He was following the lead of the prime minister and they misframed it to make him look bad.
Of course.
You know what the craziest thing was?
What?
When a woman on MSNBC said Trump was talking about exterminating Latinos.
What?
I kid you not. Trump has never gotten anywhere near to saying anything like that.
What?
In fact, quite the opposite. Trump took a picture of himself eating a taco bowl at Trump Tower saying he loved Mexicans.
That's true.
So it's like the exact opposite, okay?
Yeah.
That's how crazy it's gotten.
Taco bowls are good. You got to admit. They're good.
Let me see if I can find the...
This is crazy.
No joke. MSNBC's Nicole Wallace apologizes for saying Trump was talking about exterminating Latinos. I misspoke. You know what they say about lies, man? The lie travels halfway around the world before the truth can strap on his boots. So she goes on and she says this. It freaks everybody out, and then nobody hears the correction.
Nope, they just spread it around. Now it's probably a meme. A news meme spreading around on Facebook.
This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen happen in politics.
That's nuts.
Yeah, man. Yep.
She should have been fired for that.
Let me tell you something. There have been many instances where Trump has been correct, and that's led me to a point where I'm like, I've always tried to view things rationally and fairly. So when I watched Antifa acting a fool, and I've witnessed it, I'm like, they're acting a fool. When Donald Trump comes out and says something, I don't immediately say, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I say, let me look into the source and see what's going on. Oh, that was fake news. Like the Very Fine People hoax.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know this. Maybe you guys, I'm assuming most of you know this. Trump never claimed both sides were all very fine people. He was referring specifically to regular people amid a crowd of violence. I'm being relatively vague. The general idea is he specifically said, I condemn, the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists.
The first thing out of his mouth. I get this a lot.
Yep.
People are like, how can you defend someone who, is okay, that says neo-Nazis are okay? And I'm like, did you just go watch his speech, please? You know what? Fine. I'll tell you. The very first thing out of his mouth is, I condemn neo-Nazis.
Totally. They should be condemned totally.
They should be condemned totally. And I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about it's like the people that show up to march for a protest that they do believe in.
Yeah.
And then the people with the loudspeakers are just screaming. And then because you're standing there, that means you're now privy to whatever they're screaming.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.